Paladin. The opinions expressed in the following programs are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers nor Rogers TV.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Welcome to another exciting episode of In Conversation with Alethia. I am your host, Alethia O'Hara-Stephenson. In each episode, I sit down with amazing individuals from our community who are doing inspiring things. The show will educate, it will empower, and it will inspire you. On this episode, I am honored to have an incredible individual in our community who's doing incredible things in the film industry. Her name is Diana Webley from the Caribbean Tales of Film Festival. Welcome to In Conversation with Alethia, Diana.
Thank you so much for having me, Alethia.
Amazing, amazing. Now, Diana, it is so incredible to have you as a guest, and I want to dive right into your background. Can you share a little bit about your background, how you got involved in the film industry?
Sure. Wow. Many years ago, Caribbean Tales partnered with Harborfront Center to do their film festival. And I still work here at Harborfront, so I was assigned to their festival to help them produce it. And so I also was kind of asked if I would like to join their board. And at the time, I didn't know, what being on a board was. So long story short, I came on their board. I lasted about 4 years and been a real fan of the festival. And the CEO asked me if I didn't mind coming off of the board in order to help them produce it. So 7 years later, here I am, the festival director of the festival.
Amazing. That's incredible. And first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Is film something that you aspire to be in, or just one of those things that just happened to stumble across your pathway?
I'm in the arts from very young, from my grandmother, my mom, my dad, with music and dance and visual art. So film has always been a part, has always found a way to cross over in those disciplines. And it wasn't something I studied, but definitely a fan of. And it really is at the heart of telling everyone's story. So that's a huge thing for me. So I am dedicated to the genre and to all the hard-working men and women who produce film.
Amazing. That's wonderful. And now we're talking about the Caribbean Tales Film Festival. I believe that started about 20 years ago by Francis Solomon. Is that correct?
Yeah, our founder CEO, Francis N. Solomon, started the festival about 20 years ago, but didn't make it into an actual festival until we just celebrated our 18th year. So it is a long time coming. Yeah. So we just wrapped up that festival. The winners and the content for, that venture is amazing. And only 2 more years till the 20th. So we are already planning for that anniversary.
I love that. Fantastic. And 18 years, and the organization caters specifically to showcasing of Black films and culturally diverse for the Black market, as well as culturally diverse individuals. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So the Afro-Caribbean as well, it opens up because we are everywhere around the world. So it is an international festival. We also cover parts of Latin America as well that are, a lot of people do not or forget that the Caribbean is spread quite widely in Latin America. But we also showcase with our Cinefam Festival, women of color filmmakers, and also non-binary creators as well.
Wonderful. And you mentioned that Caribbean Tales is global. I believe you're also part of the UK with the
Windrush? Yeah, the Windrush Caribbean Film Festival that happened in June. Caribbean Tales Media Group is a huge conglomerate. So we did have a UK-based film festival. And as you know, the UK celebrates Black History Month in October. So right now we have the best of the fest coming out of that festival, and it is buzzing. It was an amazing time in the UK, and they have so much to give. And it will be an anniversary year next year.
Amazing. Again, wonderful things that I'm hearing about the community. And if we even look back at this past summer, some of the incredible things that you have been up to, in particular, from the festival that took place. We had TIFF earlier this year, but you also had your own festival coming off the back of TIFF and celebrating amazing individuals. Can you share a little bit around that experience, what it was like and what it was all about?
Absolutely. So one of the reasons why we are nestled around the same time as TIFF is to make sure that when we have our incubators, when we are inviting all these filmmakers into town, that they have the luxury of also having an international audience see their work. We had an event partnered in partnership with TIFF called The Big Pitch right on their site. And it is an amazing way to bring the Caribbean community, the Canadian community, the international community together, and the industry to see the breadth of what's out there. A lot of filmmakers don't get that opportunity, but once you are within the realm of, being in the industry and the filmmaker buzz, you really start to make those connections that you thought you never had or that you can discover, because there's a lot happening in the industry.
That's incredible. I like that. And what I'm hearing too is that you're providing opportunities for up and coming film directors and other creators to be able to showcase their work, in particular with a pitch competition.
Yes, the Big Pitch was so successful. So let me just describe it a little bit. So starts at 8 a.m. starts at 8 a.m. You get served a Caribbean breakfast. So you have your shark and bake, and you have your scrambled eggs with greens, and all of that is there. Your fresh plantain chips. So it's already setting the tone. You are setting the tone for what's to come. And so we have, 12 filmmakers who are emerging, and some very established who have already gotten an opportunity either with Netflix or a web series that has been supported by CBC, etc. They are in the room ready to pitch to the industry. There's also a jury there, and also the pressure of I guess pitching with 3 minutes, only 3 minutes they have to pitch. And the audience choice is also there for an award. So it was a very tight competition this year. And it's just a nice way to know what else is happening within the circle of film.
That's an amazing experience. And to be able to showcase your product, your creative, your work in 3 minutes, it's a skill by itself. And I'm wondering if you or the organization have means of getting these young individuals prepared for doing that pitch.
So with the incubator process and Limitless, Telefilm and TD kind of sponsor the journey for us to provide mentorships. So there's about, that cohort was cohort 5, and there's so many filmmakers that get the opportunity to be mentored through the process by industry collectives and known names that they normally wouldn't get the luxury of having access to. So what it does is give them some one-on-one time with directors who are actively working in the industry, who have made it, who have that experience, gives them access to getting their pitch deck ready, getting all the tips that they need, and culminating to that moment of the big pitch. So all their hard work, you're able to see right in front of you, from all the rehearsals that they do behind the scenes to then having that 3 minutes of pitching.
Wow. Now, once they have been selected as a winner from the pitch competition, do they now have their own crew that they came with to be able to put that production together, or do you as an organization help them with that to carry it forward?
Yeah, so a bit of both. So it also depends on the pitching year. So the prizing that they also get is, for example, they would get an equipment scholarship so that they can go and get the equipment that they need to go and develop their concept or their trailer for what they were pitching. I think the top three winners probably get the most benefit of, or the luxury of, having support in producing what they do. But for a lot of it, the reason why grant writing and making sure that they can market their pitch is a part of the mentorship is to help them along the way in that journey of getting funding for what they want to do.
Wow. And the other item I want to touch on is from a film perspective of the summer, you also had a festival, a gala celebrating some incredible filmmakers. Can you talk about that a little bit and some of the amazing films that emerged?
Oh, yeah. So Caribbean Tales International Film Festival, the theme this year was eco-survivors. And so it did put a spotlight on climate change and the environment and what's happening around in the Caribbean states. As we can see, global warming is affecting us everywhere. It's a human kind of condition that we all need to address, but more so putting that spotlight in the Caribbean nations because they have nowhere to go, especially for those who don't have the means to leave their home and the ones that don't want to leave. And for the filmmakers that are coming from all of those islands, they are documenting it. They are telling their stories of resilience, of what they're doing to make a change there. So the gala that I do want to talk about is this year we had the inaugural Dr. Augustine Excellence Award that we handed out to Dr. Roy Cape, who we flew from Trinidad to be here to accept the inaugural award. And that experience was amazing. We had a wonderful performance that was also dedicated in Roy Cape's honor. And also there was a medley that was also dedicated to Dr. Augustine for her birthday and all the work that she's done in the arts. And she has done a lot. Dr. Augustine also sits on our board of directors. And so we're going to keep that legacy going because we want to show youth and also the next generation that we are looking. And these are the types of legacies we want to leave behind. So for our next recipient, we are looking for someone who is up and coming that is deserving and also making inroads in the community. So I know that's a lot, but I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you actually did. And, you know, for the next pitch competition, you're looking for individuals, not just right here in Ontario, but anywhere globally. Is that correct?
So I'm glad you brought that up. The next pitch competition is going to be international. So not only will it feature pitching recipients from Canada, it's going to include from around the Caribbean and as well as the UK. Caribbean Tales Media Group is actually going out to Barbados to do an export exchange. And this is where we're getting filmmakers from all over to come to the summit to be, it's almost similar to like a big pitch incubator, but to bring the minds together to see what they can create. And we're going to bring them back to Toronto for an international big pitch.
That is amazing. I am so looking forward to that next big event.
You have to come. You have to come.
Yes, definitely. And it would be amazing if we can find some opportunities to bring some young people along on the journey. That would be absolutely powerful and inspiring for them to be part of.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Now, we're going to take a short break, Diana, but stay tuned. We're going to come back and pick up the conversation talking about Cinefam. And that title by itself is mind-blowing. And so we're going to dive right into that. So thank you for tuning into In Conversation with Alethia. We will be right back with Diana Webley from the Caribbean Tales of Film Festival.
watching Rogers TV.
Welcome back to In Conversation with Alethia. I am having an amazing conversation with Diana Webley, Director of Planning and Events for the Caribbean Tales of Film Festival. And the last segment, we left off talking about some of the amazing things from the pitch competition to the winners of the Events Night Gala. And we want to touch on a little bit one of the amazing films that emerged. There were lots of amazing films, let's get that clear, but we want to touch on one that had a significant impact. So can you share a little bit about what that film was, the title, what it was all about?
Sure. The winner of the Best Short Film, the title was called Here Ends the World We've Known. And this is from director Anne-Sophie Nanki. And this film, although short, was very impactful. And we saw that with the audiences. There was some silent tears, some moving moments. And essentially, it was set in a period of slavery days where we had a runaway slave, African, running, and he was in the woods while the help was basically going into labor in the woods. And she was having a complicated time, and the runaway slave helped her deliver the baby. Wow. And so what happened, she knew where she was kind of escaping to. And he said, if you know the way, I will follow you. And she was fine with him coming with her until there were men in the woods with guns. You can just hear gunshots. You didn't see them, but they definitely heard the baby crying, the newborn. And that's how they were getting closer and closer. So new mom and baby start going into the river. Same with the African slaves. So they're hiding amongst, the leaves within the river, but the baby wouldn't stop crying. And so they were getting closer and closer, and you can hear the gunshots. You can hear the men saying, they have to be over here. And what the mother does is sacrifice her baby by putting it underwater. And you don't hear the cries anymore. And the gunshots are gone, and the men go away. And I can't describe the scene that happens afterwards. You're going to have to go and see the film, but it is definitely, you are torn in that film. And again, it deserves the award for Best Short because it moved people in so many different ways. The talk that everybody had with themselves afterwards, it went on. They had to kick us out the building because everybody was so moved with that film. And that was just part of opening night. So yeah, that is a wonderful film. Here Ends the World We've Known. Yes. Incredible
story. I am emotional just listening to you tell that story, and the fact that she had to make that decision. That's a tough decision for anyone, never mind to be a mom having to sacrifice your newborn. So that's a powerful story to be, to have been told. And I'm curious, where can individuals go to learn more about this film and all of the amazing other winners?
Yeah, so if you you can Google it, Caribbean Tales International Film Festival. It will get you to the right site. Just click on there. You can still see the trailers and you can access the films. Actually, you may not be able to access the films. We are about to do a re-release. We just have to get the permissions from all the filmmakers. But yes, that is definitely one to watch.
Amazing. Well, please definitely keep me in mind for the re-release. I'd love to be able to share that with all of our amazing viewers and the people right here in Dufferin County. So thank you.
No problem.
I want to really touch on another topic, which is Cinefam. And I mentioned before the break that it's such a powerful name, the meaning behind it. And I would love for you to share with our viewers what Cinefam is all about.
Yeah, so the word Cinefam is a Haitian Creole word that just means film by women. And so the way that a Cinefam started is there was a partnership with South Africa and the Durban film festival as well, and they had creators of color from Africa, from the Caribbean diaspora, and from Canada. So that's where Cinefam bore out of until where it is today, where it is focusing on Canadian non-binary creators as well as BIPOC women of color. So that's the history of Cinefam.
That is pretty exciting. Is there another film organization in Canada that supports BIPOC women in particular? I don't think there is one, is there?
I don't think there is one. We've been doing this. It's going to be our 7th year this year, going on with Cinefam, and there isn't another. And it's so unique and it's so great because all of these creators submit their films because they feel like they belong. They feel like this is where they want their story heard. So we're really proud of Cinefam.
That's incredible. I'm proud because, again, just to have a space for women to showcase their talents, and in particular BIPOC women, is absolutely incredible. It's creating a platform that is otherwise unattainable for these individuals. So congratulations to the entire team for making this possible for the past 7 years. I'm curious though to find out, have you produced any amazing or emerging films that, would be of interest to the viewers?
Okay, so we haven't launched our festival yet. So it is coming upon us right now. There are 12 films that we would love for everyone to come out to. Cinefam is going to be offered online and also in person. We are probably going to launch in December. We originally were going to launch in October, but our venue sponsor had changes in their schedule. So the films are all there. If you go to cinefam.ca, you can actually see the trailers, but we are about to announce our in-person date and venue once the ink is dried. Our themes for this year is survive and thrive. And so we're just looking at how women of color are creating, connecting, and thriving in what they do and telling their stories. And, it's such a journey that they've been on. There's a few filmmakers that have been in the Cinefam lineup before. Just looking at the development of their growth and the stories that they want to tell are so intriguing. And because they are from Canada, it's even more important. So our Indigenous sisters, our Asian sisters as well, our non-binary creators are all having a voice. And the LGBTQ community is alive and well. So even the creative that was done for the marketing campaign, I'm super proud of the entire team and all the filmmakers who are a part of this.
Wow. This is an incredible experience. And I'm so looking forward to it. What else can we expect from Cinefam in the near future? I know you've talked about broadly, the community, but is there space for especially our young creatives, kids that are high school age?
Yes, and that's such a great question. So for February, March, and just because we're looking at Black Futures Month, but we're also looking at Women International, focusing on Women's Month as well, we are going to choose the top winners from our Cinefam festival to go into the schools. So we are applying for funding to support them to go into the schools, just talking about the topics that they have and asking if we can come in and show an excerpt or a short or a full-length film of theirs, and having access to these filmmakers in the school for Q&A, because we know the young minds see a lot of things on the screen, see a lot of things on TV, but do they have access to actually speaking and talking and engaging with the people who are the creatives? So we are going into the schools next year. It's a really critical thing to do, knowing all these youth and children having screen time, but also with COVID, I know for any of the art schools that did not have music anymore, they weren't allowed to take their instruments home. Another art form is filmmaking. And this can be an introduction to it for those who have no idea that it's possible that they can do it too.
Oh my gosh. And there are so many different roles in the film industry, right? It's not just about being in front of the camera or behind the camera. There's a long list of other, from production to hair to makeup. So having these young people, with access and the opportunity to learn from experts like yourself and the film directors is absolutely incredible. One of the things, yes, and one of the things that I appreciate about you going into the schools is young people need to see themselves represented, right? And it's, the saying goes, representation matters, but this is, again, another perfect example, because when you're able to see someone, when you're able to see a female film director, producer, whatever the title is, you can aspire to be, right? And especially growing up in a Caribbean household or any Black household, you don't often have individuals that you can relate to that have been on TV, that you actually know, you've actually met, seen, and can have a conversation with. So that is absolutely critical and a powerful thing that you're embarking on, and I absolutely love it. What other exciting things can we look forward to other than going into the schools with young people and let's say for the next 6 to 12 months?
Wow. So we just had our planning meeting just to make sure that the board is also in favor of what we're trying to do. I can't announce who the sponsor is, but we are also looking at youth film challenges, just micro challenges, to make sure that they have the phones in their hands. It's a very powerful tool, and getting them on the right track into creating their own films. So looking at those types of challenges that we want to produce for youth is one of the many ways that you'll see Caribbean Tales kind of emerge with that. With our Windrush Film Festival, that's another partnership that we are going into the schools and universities to get them on board to showcasing their films, anything that they have produced. And so again, it's a toolkit that we're sending out. It's a challenge to the classrooms to produce on a very small scale. All it is 30 seconds. It's a micro short, and it's something they can be proud of. It's just one step into the door of how to create, and just another art form if they haven't done that before.
Amazing, amazing. And we're coming towards the end of the show, Diana, but I have 2 short questions to ask you. What is next on the list for you personally? And what have you been most excited about on this journey?
Okay, so that's a big question. So let me start with your question 2. What has been the most exciting part of this journey is meeting all the people from across the globe that tell me that their stories have impacted others and that they will not stop telling their stories because they need to be told. It's a legacy that will live on for them. And for your question 1, what's next? I will be in the UK, in Parliament just at the end of this month, because Nadine White, she produced a film called Barrel Children. She is having that screened in Parliament for the first time. So I will be able to be there for this historical moment with her. I'll be able to meet the MP there and celebrate that Windrush Film Festival is here to stay.
Amazing, amazing. I love it. Absolutely love everything that you have shared, Diana. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us on In Conversation with Alethia. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Amazing. Thank you for joining us on In Conversation with Alethia. Tune in next time for another incredible episode. And a thank you to our logo sponsor, Town Teas, as well as our jewelry sponsor, Moonstone by Myra. Thank you and see you next time.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
It's closing time, and you stayed out longer than you planned. So now you can't drive, and the buses have stopped running. You could always